Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. My name is Thomas, this is
Raquel.
and this is Our Japan Life.
We wanted to invite you to watch this video today because we moved here about 6 months ago. We've learned a lot since we have moved here, and we just want to offer anyone that's interested in moving to Japan some insight as to maybe some things you should know that not many people talk about.
Here's some things that you guys should consider. Right now, the opportunity to purchase what we call IKEAs or abandoned houses in Japan is an opportunity that has not come around too often in the entire history of the world. There's up to 10 million abandoned homes on the Japanese real estate market, and this of course sparks a lot of interest, foreign interest, because these homes can be bought for sometimes $5,000 US or $10,000 US. There's a beautiful example of a traditional Japanese home right behind me. It's occupied at the moment, so it's not one of the ones that are for sale. What I would say though is if you're considering moving here and buying an IKEA or an abandoned house or one that's owned by a bank, or maybe a family had a family member pass away and they're selling the home on the cheap, keep in mind that these traditional beautiful Japanese houses, while they are aesthetically very beautiful to look at, they are not insulated. The walls don't have insulation, the floors don't have insulation, and oftentimes this causes people to have a significant amount of discomfort when they move here, because Japan is a very seasonal place for weather. In the summertime, it's very warm and humid, being that it's an island. In the wintertime, depending on where you are in Japan, it can be absolutely freezing cold and snowing. So keep that in mind if you decide to purchase one of these beautiful traditional homes, that if you want it to be a comfortable place to live, that you're probably gonna have to do some significant renovation in terms of installing insulations in both the insulation in both the walls, the floorings, and the ceilings. Anyways, pretty house.
Pets. If you're thinking about moving to Japan and you want to bring a pet, please know that Japan is an island nation, which means that importing animals here is very strict. You're gonna need a lot of time and a lot of energy to process everything you have to do to ready your pet to move to Japan. Now, I've already done a full video on this process, including the website you should start with, the forms, some of the costs, as well as the timeline you're gonna need to look at to go through this whole thing and complete it in order to get your pet here safely.
Those of you that have been to Japan on vacation, of course, when you come here and you're on vacation and traveling around the country, going to beautiful shrines and temples and enjoying all the amazing things that Japan has to offer in terms of travel and sightseeing, you probably come here from a place where monetary systems are different. For example, when I first visited, I was living in California, and of course my wages in California were relatively high in terms of the national average in the United States. So when I came here to Japan and was traveling around Japan via their amazing train system and their transportation systems, I was like, wow, this is so cheap and this is so easy and so inexpensive and amazing and fast. And of course, the traveling here in Japan by train, by bus and everything like that is extremely efficient. And when you come here from a foreign country that has a different monetary value of your currency, you might find the travel to be very inexpensive here. While you're living here, if you decide to come here and live and work in Japan, their wages might come off a little bit different in terms of how expensive travel is. We have been here for a little over 6 months now living in Japan, and we have actually found the train travel to be rather expensive. We live in the Japanese countryside, of course, and we're about an hour and a half to 2 hours by train from Osaka. And so if me and my wife want to take a trip down to the city, to Osaka, to Kobe, to Kyoto, or wherever, to go have some fun and go sightseeing in those big cities, we find it to be pretty expensive. Round trip from our house by train down to one of the big cities and then back might run us, up to $60 to $80 a piece. So train travel and transportation travel while you're living here is going to come off as a different cost threshold. It's going to be a little bit different for you. I don't find it incredibly affordable to just train all around Japan, especially if you're here working in Japan and have a Japanese income, as opposed to coming here on vacation from a place like California or wherever, or Australia or wherever. So just keep that in mind when you come here. Getting place to place with transportation Public transportation might not be quite as cheap and inexpensive as you might have thought, which leads me to my next thought, which is about owning a vehicle here in Japan. Realize that in terms of transportation, you can't just buy a car here, register your name in your name, and then like drive with a foreign license. In order to get a car registered in your name, you have to have residency here in Japan. It's not as easy as just like coming here and then buying a house and then like coming here on vacations and then like just owning a house. Unless you're a permanent resident here in Japan, they make it practically impossible to own your own vehicle and register it in your name. Keep that in mind. We were fortunate enough to have a friend that decided he would buy a car for us. We actually paid him the money to buy a car for us, register it in his name, and then insure it under our name. So that way when we are here in Japan and we're not traveling about the world, that we have a car of our own and we're insured. Of course, we have an international driver's license, a AAA driver's license that we can use here. But we're a unique case in that we had a friend that was willing to kind of do that for us and kind of take on that liability. But realize it's very difficult to register a car here and you need to be a permanent resident of Japan. Kind of along the same lines of what I was just talking about, Japanese phone numbers are reserved for people that have a visa. A working visa or a permanent visa. You can't come here and expect within the first 90 days while you're going through your visa process and you're still on a tourist visa, you can't have a Japanese phone number registered in your name, and you can't have a bank account. You can't come here and, as a foreigner without status and without papers, and open a Japanese bank account or have a Japanese phone number. There's no SIM card that you can buy. Even if you have an unlocked phone, you can't go buy a SIM card with a Japanese phone number unless you have documentation that you're legally allowed to live here on a semi-permanent basis. So when you come here on vacation or you stay up to 90 days on your tourist visa, if you're from the United States, of course you can get a SIM card that will work for data and internet on your phone, so you can use your maps and everything like that. But in terms of actually having a Japanese phone number, you can't do that unless you have paperwork.
Another thing you should know if you're interested in moving to Japan is that the trash disposal here can be quite complex. Let me show you what I mean. These are all the things we keep in our house in order to understand how to better separate our trash and dispose of it. And even so, we don't always get it right. This right here is a 32-page booklet on how to separate your trash. It is very detailed and it's hard for us to reference because obviously it's in Japanese, so we always have to use a translating app. This poster here is what we use most often, and this is kept on our refrigerator. Notice how many different sections there are to separate your garbage. And don't forget, they want you to compost as well. And there are specific instructions on how to compost. Even if you get the trash separating perfect, you also have to abide by this calendar, which tells you when you can throw out what.
One thing, of course, my wife already alluded to when she talked about their extreme measures of separating their trash here in Japan and their recyclables and how meticulous they are with that, is that Japan is a place of extreme cleanliness. And of course, this is a major thing that attracted me and my wife to want to actually live here. And of course, when everyone travels here on vacation, they always remark about how Japan is so incredibly clean. Even in the big cities like Tokyo or Osaka, you can walk down the street and you'll see fairly spotless streets, not much trash. And in fact, a lot of cities, big cities, don't even really have trash cans around because they know that no one would dare breach the rules of cleanliness and throw their trash on the ground. If you're coming from a country and you're planning on moving here and coming from a country that doesn't have the exact cleanliness standards, realize that you're going to be held to that strict standard here in Japan. They don't have tolerance for being untidy or being messy or littering. So just really keep that in mind when you move here. That's a really great way to be ostracized from your community and not enjoy it here, and then start complaining about nepotism and racism and things like that go on. If you're truly wanting to involucrate yourself into Japanese society, you need to keep your cleanliness standard and your hygiene standards and everything that you do strict and in accordance to the standard of Japan. And so keep that in mind. It's a really, really clean place, and if you want to live here and you want to move here, you got to be clean as well. Nice backdrop, right?
Another thing you should know is that your neighborhood may look really quiet, but your neighbors are watching you. It looks quiet. You hardly ever see people out. But let me tell you, your neighbors watch everything you do. Now, this could be a bit of a two-edged sword depending on how you look at it. I like to be positive and know that my neighbors are watching my property and that they're gonna let me know if I have accidentally left a tool out in my garden, or if my garage door is open, or if they've seen my cat wandering the neighborhood. Or they could be watching and observing some of your bad habits too, like, are you good with taking out your trash and doing it the right way? Are there things going on your property that maybe you shouldn't be doing? They're gonna let you know.
It's like one of my favorite streets here in Katsuyama, where me and my wife live, downtown historic Katsuyama. When I was walking down the street here, I kind of started thinking about another thing that you might want to consider if you come from another country where the actual drinking and partying standards are a little bit different. I come from California, as I mentioned, and it's not uncommon for people post work to go out and have like a beer or like a couple drinks and then jump in your car and drive home. That's not something that socially should be acceptable, but oftentimes in the United States and in other countries, it's very easy to like just go socially have a beer or two and then jump in your car. Me and my wife were pretty shocked one day. We went out for lunch and we had driven there, and we just wanted to order 2 beers, a beer for her and a beer for me, just one each. We were shocked when the owner actually came out and said only one of us could have a beer. They hold people to the drinking and driving standard extremely strict here, and they do not tolerate it. The fines associated and the penalties associated with drinking and driving here are very, very high. It's a way to get your visa status permanently revoked, and you're not going to be able to come back. So just keep in mind that drinking and driving here is a big, big no-no. It's also socially very unacceptable to go out with a group of Japanese people, drink, and then get in your car. In fact, many of them will ask to drive you home afterwards, or they'll make sure that you're getting on the bus or the train to go home and not driving. So just keep that in mind. It's very socially unacceptable here in Japan and with their legal system to be doing any type of consuming of alcohol and getting in your vehicle and driving. Although this video has a lot of things that I mentioned that could come across maybe as negatives or things you should be concerned about when moving to Japan, this is actually one that can relieve a lot of stress for those of you that are very religious people and have concerns about moving to a country where Christianity isn't the main religion, or Judaism isn't the main religion, or whatever you worship. Japan is an incredibly spiritual place. It is also an incredibly tolerant place in terms of how you decide you need to worship. Yes, Buddhism and Shinto thrives here in Japan, and a lot of people practice Buddhism and Shintoism, but that does not mean in any way, shape, or form that you will be judged for not practicing those most common Asian religions, Eastern religions. Christians are very, very much respected here. Of course, people that practice Judaism are very respected here. There's a growing Muslim population here in Japan, and of course, Islam is very respected. Japanese people and Japanese communities respect your right to worship in the way you need to. That does not mean that they are tolerant of you over proselytizing or not conforming to their societal norms. They expect you to kind of reside in the peace and allow others to worship as they may as well. So while they do give you the respect and the courtesy of allowing you to practice your religion in peace and harmony, they also need that same respect, that you respect their cultural beliefs. but it's a very religious, tolerant place, and that is an extreme positive. So maybe relieve a little tension of the video and give you a little bit of a positive. Japan is an incredibly spiritual place that allows you to worship as you will. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today. We tried to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible here in our beautiful town of Maniwa City, Japan, Katsuyama in particular. That leads me to the final one. There's a lot of chatter on the internet about Japanese people becoming increasingly less tolerant of Westerners or people from foreign countries moving here or visiting here on tourism. There's also a lot of like foreigners that have moved here and that are like extreme gatekeepers and like are consistently angry or mean on forums to people that are interested in moving here. I just want to put one thing to rest about Japanese people. They're some of the most tolerant and respectful people that I've ever witnessed, and they don't dislike foreigners. They're not discouraged by great visitation and tourism. But if you want to move here and truly be accepted by your community and be part of society here, you do need to conform. And one of the most important things is to learn Japanese. It's a very difficult language. I'm struggling immensely with the language, but I'm trying to put in the effort, and by putting in the effort and trying to do so, these people are so incredibly gracious. If you don't come here with the attitude of wanting to learn their language, you will find that you will pick out moments when you feel like you're being discriminated against or being gatekeeped. By gatekeeping, I mean that they won't really like let you know about the parties that there are going on, or they won't let you know about the little speakeasy bars that are really cool in the area. And there is some extreme gatekeeping here. I mean, Japanese people are fairly shy as it is and not really socially outward. And so there's already a little bit of that blockage anyways. But if you fail to learn their language, or at least attempt with all your might to learn their language when you move here, you're not going to enjoy it because you won't be accepted by the community. So put in your work. I'm trying to do so as much as I possibly can. These people are extremely gracious. They're wonderful people. The reason why I moved here wasn't for the fact that it was cheap living, that it was amazing food, or aesthetically absolutely breathtaking. The reason why I decided to move to Japan was Japanese people and their incredible heart and how they treat people with respect. And they're the most beautiful and gracious people you could possibly ask for. Put forward your part, learn Japanese, adhere to their cultural values and standards, move here, have fun, be part of their society, help build the Japanese economy, and be part of it, but do so with the utmost respect for the people, because they're deserving of that, and their country is absolutely amazing. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video.